Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I have a package to open. It has my address all over it, so I'm going to hold it kind of low, but this is pretty cool. So I reached out recently to Artisan Knives, Russell over there, who's a really cool guy. We have some mutual friends, and they've just been coming out with some really cool stuff recently that I've been intrigued about and wanting to check out. And some of my friends who also know Russell kind of played matchmaker. Shout out to Dylan Mallory on that one, and said I should reach out and see if they'd be willing to send me a couple of models to check out and see what's going on here. So I reached out to Russell. Turns out he is a really cool dude and very fun to talk to, and definitely a knife guy. And yeah, he put together this package of a couple of the models that I thought looked most interesting for me to check out here on the channel. So I thought that was really, really cool of them. Definitely not something that they had to do, but was very generous that they'd send this stuff my way just for me to take a look at. So in here there are a couple of knives, and we are going to take a look at them and I'll be reviewing these items. So yeah, I'm not positive 100%. I know we talked about a couple of things, what all is going to be in here. I do want to start by saying that these were sent to the channel for a review, and I didn't pay for them. I know that some of these I'm not keeping. I'm sending back. I'm pretty sure one of them I am keeping. But yeah, so full disclosure, these were sent in by Artisan just for me to check out, which is very, very cool of them, and I appreciate it. And that being said, I will do everything I can to be as objective as possible in this review process, even though they were generous in sending them over. So in here, we've got two knives, and they both have, I think they call it the recoil lock. I'm terrible at remembering terms like that a lot of the time, but I'm almost certain that's what they call it. So this one, I believe, is called the Kicker. And I've seen a lot of people get this one, and it just made me curious because I think in a lot of ways it's reminiscent of like the Shark Lock from Demco. Obviously not the same. It actually functions pretty differently internally, but the way that you actuate it seems similar to me. So I just wanted to check this out, and both of these knives have it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this one is called the Kicker. I don't see, but this one's a CJRB model, which CJRB is kind of the budget line from Artisan Cutlery. So this one is in D2 steel with, I think this is G10. Yeah, this is OD green G10. It's got these nice pivot collars on it. I did try a CJRB. It's been a while now, but I got one kind of towards the beginning of my channel. I ordered one from River's Edge Cutlery, and what was that knife called? I don't remember now, but I enjoyed it. I ended up including it in a giveaway eventually, but it was really nice. So let's see how this flipper does. It actually flips pretty well. And okay, that's kind of cool. So the way this lock works, you can pull it from the top here. That's what I just did, right? And it's kind of like an axis lock in its sensation, but you can also grab it from the sides like an axis lock. And you can actually just grab it from one side too. That's cool. I like that. Functionally, I feel like it works a little bit better even than I was maybe expecting it to on a budget knife too. Like, kind of a cool new way to kind of work that out, right? Wild. That's cool. That's fun to play with. Yeah, so outside of that too, this knife design feels pretty cool. I like this blade profile. Interesting. So I'm going to be carrying this, doing a little bit of cutting with it, doing my full-on review process and seeing how it does, but this is pretty cool. I like it. Alright, so that is 90% sure called the Kicker. I'm almost positive that that's what that's called. So there's that one. Let's keep them separated. And then here is this guy. Man, I forget the name of this knife. Ooh, that's gonna bug me. Pause for 1 second. I'm gonna look it up. All right. I looked it up. It's called the Blowback, and I don't know why I was having trouble remembering that. This is actually one of the ones that I was most interested in checking out because It has that new lock. The recoil lock is what I think they're calling it. Man, I should have looked up all these terms before I did this. So this has the recoil lock, and this is a fancy pants version. It's in Damascus, but there were a couple kind of editions of this, and for some reason I didn't see anybody. I haven't seen a single like review of this knife. I haven't seen a picture even. I don't think. Like when I saw it on Artisan's site, I was like, how has this knife seemingly eluded everybody? Because it seemed to stand out, at least to me. So I know Russell said this is his last one, so this knife is not for me to keep. I have to send this back to him. I'll check with him and see how much he's comfortable with me carrying and cutting with it. But it's got this really cool green anodized titanium frame, and pretty wild looking in terms of machining. The clip is reversible, which is cool. You can see the clip sits kind of into that pocket there, which is nice. And it actually screws in internally. You can see there's holes it goes in, but the hardware is internal on there. I know that anodizing things this color green can be relatively difficult from like an anodization standpoint. It's one of the harder colors to nail from what I understand, and it looks really cool. It's kind of like this aqua, like slightly bluish green tone. And yeah, you can see this blade is Damascus. Looks like it's raindrop Damascus. Okay, deploys well. Look at that tip. Goodness, that is gnarly. Same lock here as on that last one. Let's see how it functions. Oh, a little bit stiffer, but kind of in a fun way. I feel like this one does better if you pull it from here. Axis lock style. Interesting. Yeah, this one's like a whole bar. If you look at the way that that whole piece moves, that's pretty wild. Look at that. Gnarly. See how it middle finger flicks, because it does have... Oh, I'm pressing on the lock bar when I do that, aren't I? See if I can position my finger better. I'm going to have to figure that out, because I definitely want to be middle finger flicking this. But the way that I do it, it presses my finger, come on, up against that kind of lock bar there. Interesting. Yeah, this feels really different from the other one with that same lock type, but this one is actually constructed pretty differently, so that makes sense. Wild. Cool design though, and it fits my hand pretty well. I'm liking that. You can choke up. Crazy. Let's see. Yeah, it just says Damascus. I'm not a big Damascus guy, so I'm not like super familiar with the differences from one style of Damascus to another. I can say with a relative degree of confidence that I think this is raindrop Damascus, and the finishing on it is really nice. It's kind of a highly polished Damascus, which I like. I don't think I'd pick Damascus on a knife for me personally. In fact, I've demonstrated that I don't really pick Damascus on my own knives, but I do think it looks really cool. Wild. Yeah, so this is the Blowback, and that's a crazy looking blade. Totally different and unique too, the way they're doing this lock. Yeah, there's a recoil spring in there, almost like on the Benchmade Anthem, how there's like a cylindrical spring down in there that is causing that to work. It's very similar in this one, but it's like housed in this whole kind of like arm thing. Wild. All right, so there's the Blowback. Put that back in here, keep everything where it's supposed to be. And then in here, we have another one that I've actually been really, really excited about. So this is the Sea Snake, and it's a little fixed blade in AR RPM 9 steel, which I recently did some testing on with the Artisan Arroyo. And this one is designed by Mike Emler from Emler's Crazy Sharp Edge, I think he goes by. I've met him kind of in passing on the Knife Junkies podcast. We were both there on one of the Thursday Night Knives episodes, and so we were both kind of on that podcast. And that's really all the interaction I've pretty much had with him, I think, but I have some friends who are good friends with him, so I consider him kind of like a friend of a friend at this point. Anyways, I've seen that he was coming out with this a while ago, and now it's available, and you can purchase it. And I've just been intrigued by it. I like kind of small EDC size fixed blades lately. I've been on a bit of a kick with them, and this one fits that bill for sure. It's set up out of the box as a neck knife, which is kind of cool. I just recently tried that on one of the Self-Reliant Knives, or SRK Knives prototypes. I carried it as a neck knife a little bit, so this will be fun. Kind of keep that experiment going and see how it does. But this one's really slim. That fits well there. Let's see this. So when you're carrying it as a neck knife, just lift the shirt and pull it out, and boom. This is cool. Nice Warney profile. I knew this was going to be a relatively small, slim knife, but it feels kind of smaller and slimmer in person than I was expecting, in a good way, especially if it's going to be kind of an EDC fixed blade that goes with me everywhere. And this isn't really meant to be like an outdoorsman's knife. I guess you could make it like a light backpacking knife for light duty camp type stuff, but this isn't a chopper or anything. It's a thin, slicey little guy. This feels really cool. I like this a lot. This G10, it's rounded really well. It's finished nicely. Yeah, this is cool. I liked AR RPM 9 and the testing that I did with it, and this is a really nice blade profile. Kind of a distal taper, and it's a nice full flat grind. Come on. Yeah, look at that. I dig it. It's a nice belt satin too. Very cool. Alright, so yeah, this one is the Mike Emler design, AR RPM 9, and this is called the Sea Snake. And it's just a little guy, but it's definitely, like, especially with this forward choil, definitely a full 4-finger knife. Even without the choil, my pinky is just barely a tiny bit hanging off. So yeah, I like the size, I like the profile. This is going to work out pretty well, I think. So I'll be carrying it as a neck knife to try it out, because that's the way it comes set up. But the sheath does also have these kind of eyelets on it, so I'm sure you could put a clip on it if you wanted to. And sorry about that. My wife came in and was looking for something on her desk. Anyway, so this is the Sea Snake. I'm really stoked about this one. I've been wanting to try this one out for months now, so I'm glad that I finally get to, and that it's here. And yeah, I'm impressed with this right off the bat. So beyond that, we have, I just realized I put these back in the plastic baggies, so it's going to make it hard to hold them up again. We have the Blowback in Damascus and titanium, and pretty crazy build. And then we have the Kicker. I'm almost positive is what it's called. So the Blowback and the Kicker both have their kind of recoil lock on them. And then we have the SeaSnake, little EDC fixed blade. So a few really cool ones to check out. So thank you to Russell and Artisan Knives for sending these along. I appreciate it. And yeah, over the next little while, you'll start seeing some first impressions, some full reviews, and we'll be digging into how these knives do. But yeah, I'm excited about these. Really, really cool. So Artisan Cutlery will be linked down below. I know they have a website. I know they have an Instagram. I'm not sure if they have a YouTube channel. If they do, I'll link to that. But all the links that I can find for Artisan Cutlery, I'll link down below to make it easy for you so you can check them out. And yeah, they're up to some pretty interesting stuff over there. The fact that they have this different lock type is impressive to me. Like, it's just, it's cool to see some ingenuity coming into play beyond, you know, just more liner locks and more frame locks, and it's something a little different. And they've recently developed AR RPM 9 steel, which is their own kind of in-house steel that they're using on a lot of things, and that I had a good experience with so far. So I think it's cool to see that they're making advancements at Artisan. Anyway, thanks for checking it out, guys. There will be plenty more to come on each of these, and we'll see you then.